If you have a chalice or a candle, you may wish to light its flame now, and you can type "the flame is lit" and where you are joining us from in your chat bar. Our chalice flame is lit for the First UU Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania, and for all the churches of the greater Pittsburgh area. And now let us speak the words of our chalice lighting in unison. We light our chalice flame, rekindled in hope each week, as we come together in love and faith. Our opening hymn is "Come and Go With Me." It's number 1018 if you happen to have your Singing the Journey hymnal that you've swiped and taken home. But otherwise, the words will be on the screen so that everyone will be able to sing along.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
So today's Time for All Ages is a book called After the Fall. It's by Dan Satat. And while we know that there will be justice and singing and freedom and love in that land where we're bound, sometimes on the way there, things get hard. We trip, we fall. And this is a book about what we do afterward. It's been shared from YouTube, and I invite you to listen deeply to the words.
After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again by Dan Satat. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know, it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I love being close to the birds. Then one day, I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. I walked past the wall every day, and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really missed the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches. But day after day, I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. And I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing, one step at a time, until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Hopefully, you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. And learn how to fly. After the fall.
So even when we fall, we get back up again. Perhaps with wounds, maybe it takes a little time to get back to a place of courage. And yet here we are. Again and again, we find ourselves in that space to try again. And now, as we are in this space together, I invite you to take a moment to build our shared community by passing the peace, greeting one another. You might type a blessing into our chat, like, peace be with you, or bright blessings, namaste, shalom, blessed be, or simply, may your day go well. It is lovely to be with one another in community today. Today's UU moment is about Clara Barton. Clara Barton was the child of Stephen and Sarah Barton, and you might know her as the founder of the American Red Cross. She was also a hereditary Unitarian. And her work in humanitarian aid in binding up the wounded, even in a time of civil war, is a part of our shared narrative. When harm is done, we are those who go in to make it better, not to offer blame or fault, but to let folks know that there is help to be had. So I invite you to learn more about Clara Barton and about the social reformists of that era, the Unitarians and Universalists of that time were working hard to create social programs, education. After the war, sanitation departments were founded by Unitarian and Universalists, especially women. And just now we are seeing women rise to levels in our government in numbers that have not previously been seen. It's taken us more than 100 years to get to where some of our suffragists and sanitation workers and social reformers had dreamed. But we are on that road. And we can hold that as part of our shared heritage, part of our shared principles. So I invite you at this time to join with me in reading our 7 UU principles, adapted for our shared screen and for ease of reading. I'll put them on screen. These are the principles which we as Unitarian Universalists covenant to affirm and promote. We honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, practice justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, accept one another, and encourage spiritual growth. We support the freedom to search for what is true and right in life, ensure that all have a vote about matters that concern them, work for a peaceful, fair, and free world, and care for our planet Earth, the home we share with all living things. Our centering words are by Rachel Kahn. What to tell the children? Tell them that this is the Great Awakening. Tell them that we humans have made some huge mistakes, and that's how we find ourselves in this tenuous place. Teach them that hate is the poison. Teach them that love is the remedy, that it is better to be readied for what comes next, even if the revelation is painful. Tell them that this is the paradigm shift, that the old is collapsing in on itself, that this death rattle is simply a temper tantrum, the last gasp of a dying Goliath. Remind them of how they get wild when they are most tired and then pass out. That this is what it's about, that this is what is happening to a decrepit and ineffective empire. Tell them that everything is not okay, and that knowing that is okay. Tell them that what Pretending that what is unacceptable is fine is what got us to this sick and dysfunctional spot on this timeline. Apologize for any prior attempts to teach them denial. Tell them that you were blinded by a comfortable desire for numbness. Express that you had the best of intentions, that you were working within a broken system where few benefited at the expense of many, that you lay low and kept to the status quo, obediently played your role, but those days are over because now you know better. Tell them that they have no responsibility to follow someone blindly based solely on a title. Teach them to practice discernment. Tell them authority and respect must be earned and are not inherently deserved. Teach them that there are good people and bad people from every background and ethnicity and belief system, that they must align themselves with kindness, that there is no more time for divisiveness. You tell them that just because something is legal doesn't mean it's right. You tell them to stand up and fight. Remind them of all the lawful atrocities committed in the sick and twisted history of this violent country, that Rosa Parks righteously broke a law and the world took notice, that Harriet Tubman is our modern day Moses, that women would not be allowed to vote and no one would have proposed another notion if the blessed rebels hadn't taken a stand. Tell them love will win this war, but only if we remember that love is not just one unending cuddle puddle, but fierce as a mother bear protecting her cubs. Tell them that although this existence is damaged beyond repair, they must not despair. There is possibility, and we willingly and willfully open ourselves to new ways of being because the old way is not working, has never worked, and the world deserves better, and we're worth it. Tell them they are not free while another suffers under enslavement. Teach them that we are all limbs on one body, and we cannot chop off our own arm without deep suffering. Teach them humility, but also to relearn, to trust their intuition, and beg their forgiveness for unintentionally misleading them previously. Tell them their gifts are useful. Tell them they are beautiful. Tell them they are the truth. Our centering music is Tend This Flame. It's by Crispy Watkins and the Crack Willows. And during this time, as we listen to this music, we would love for you to share your joys and sorrows, which will be incorporated into our pastoral prayer. You can place them in the chat bar.
I was born to tend this flame. Ancestors danced and sang. What seeds now must I sow? takes to heal a soul. Oh, my love, it's time to know. Oh, my darling. Oh, oh, my darling. Oh, my love, it's time to know. The flag that makes me white takes brown and black lives. Where must my privilege go? Oh, my love, it's time to know. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my love, it's time to know. I was born to link this chain, roll the clouds and make it rain. What anchor must I hold? Oh, my love, it's time to know. Oh, my darling. Oh, oh, my darling. Oh, my love, it's time to know.
And now, let us join together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and of love, be with us in this time. Let us invite inward the movement of the Spirit, the joys and the sorrows of this moment. There is so much relief being felt, such expressions of peace and joy and gratitude, that on this day of all days, that we know every person and their vote still matters. May we give thanks for what it is to feel relief, like taking a deep breath after so long trying to hold on in a world filled with tension. And yet, even in this time, let us also know that our work is not complete. Where there is life, there is hope, yet let us stay committed to a path that knows that the beloved community is not yet built, and that we are moving along the process. Let us take time for celebration, not forgetting that there is still a path to be walked, but knowing that the joy in itself is a part of our resilience. Closer to home, let us also hold the personal joys that bless our world. Let us take a moment to offer joy on behalf of Don Lancaster, who was recently elected to the Greater Pittsburgh UU Clusters Board and is grateful and thankful for that opportunity. Let us hold in gratitude the good friends and the friendships keeping us well and alive and hopeful in the world. Let us hold in our prayers the joyfulness that Rory from our Indiana congregation turns 15 years old today. Even in hard times, it is wonderful to celebrate the passages and the turning of our lives. And let us also hold in love the new baby girl, Alexandra, born to Faye's friend, Danielle. And we also hold in our hearts room for grief, for Juanita and Judith's nephew, Don, who has moved into hospice, and their whole family, who works through that process of letting go. Let us also hold in care our dear Patty Holmes, whose sister Lovey passed recently, and whose grandson Jacob is holding great frustration with cabin fever in this pandemic time. I know that is not a unique experience, so let us hold in our hearts that child in all of us that just wants out. And let us hold in prayer also Jim and Marcy, friends of Deborah and David, who are sick with the coronavirus. Sorrow which is shared may be less burdensome. So let us hold in our hearts room enough for the sorrows, the griefs, the tensions that remain unspoken today, and for all the joy and gratitudes which are also unnamed and yet present in this world and in this space. May we breathe and know that in community, we are creating the movement of the Spirit, which guides our lives and strengthens us and readies us for the week ahead. So may peace and joy and strength be ours this day. Amen and blessed be. And in this moment, we offer an invitation. If you would like to give back to this community for the worship and the work that we do, and for the ongoing work as we share this month with UU Plan, our Legislative Action Network, for the ongoing care of our democratic processes and all the work that is yet to be done in the world. You can PayPal office at firstuu-indianapa.org or send a check to our office or give Holly Oberlin a call. Our office administrator will be happy to help you if you would like to set up a regular pledge donation.
Blessed be the gifts, blessed be the gifts, the ones we give and those that you reveal. Help us use our gifts, our varied simple gifts, to show our love and help our world to heal. Revive our tired minds, make our hearts more just and kind. Give us souls that rally to the task. Fight for justice, help us teach, help us act and care and reach out to others with a hand for them to clasp.
Today, let us speak of healing, of being healers in the world. We are searching at this time for healing, for justice, peace and love and connection. We are searching. And many of us feel wounded, for hate has been on the rise, for we have seen neighbors engage in actions which make us feel that they are not trustworthy, that we cannot be as we have been, thinking that all people are good. It is a wounding of our souls. There are many things which wound us in our lives. And if we wish to be healed, we have at least two paths. Henry Nouwen, the author of the book, The Wounded Healer, and a Christian mystic, tells us that there is an inward path, a mystic experience. It heals from within when we engage in connective experiences, going out into nature or being in meditation in our own spaces. When we choose to connect from within, we can heal the wounds of our own past. Using transforming love, we may move our own cells to repair the damage done within us, like an immune system for our own souls. Yet that healing, that inward healing, is incomplete, for it is only for ourselves. Another path is the outward path, the revolutionary path, changing a society into one which cares for one another to heal our hearts, rejecting alienation or destruction, not excusing bigotry, holding boundaries in love and care, holding hope for a person, even as we may object to the behavior. Neither of these paths is complete without the other. If we do not attend to our own hearts, then we are not ready to reach out into the world. And yet, if we do not reach out into the world, we will have no space in which to feel safe enough to do the open-hearted work of repairing our own hearts with one another. What we need is both a revolutionary mysticism, a space in which we reach out in love and return to reflection again and again. Perhaps you do this from a knowledge of a connected divine that speaks to your soul. Perhaps you do this from a humanist path, knowing that we are one another's salvation, that we redeem ourselves in this life and one another by our own hands and hearts. Perhaps you do this through a pagan path that compares us, holds us up to the beauty of nature, and knows how wonderful we could be. Whatever spiritual grounding you take, know that you must be grounded before you jump for joy. Be grounded before you protest. Be grounded and be at peace and in your center before you move outward. Just as in our children's story, a cracked egg may be repaired and may have the courage to try again, healing both by the help of others and with inward courage. We too are like that. And the longer we live, the more cracks we have, the more tumbles we have taken. And yet we come back to our center and we climb onward. In The Wounded Healer, Noen retells an ancient tale. He says, one day a young fugitive, trying to hide himself from the enemy, entered a small village. The people were kind to him and offered him a place to stay. But when the soldiers who sought the fugitive asked where he was hiding, everyone became very fearful. The soldiers threatened to burn the village and kill every person in it unless the young man were handed over to them before dawn. So the people went to their minister and asked what to do. The minister, torn between handing over the boy to the enemy or having his people killed, withdrew to his room and read his Bible, hoping to find an answer before dawn. After many hours in the early morning, his eyes fell on these words: "It is better that one man dies than that a whole people be lost." And then the minister closed the Bible and called the soldiers and told them where the boy was hidden. And after the soldiers led the fugitive away to be killed, there was a feast in the village because the minister had saved the lives of the people. But the minister did not celebrate. Overcome with a deep sadness, he remained. He remained in his room. That night, an angel came to him and asked, "What have you done?" He said, "I handed over the fugitive to the enemy." And then the angel said, "But didn't you know that you have handed over the Messiah?" "How could I know?" the minister replied anxiously. And then the angel said, "If instead of reading your Bible, you had visited this young man just once and looked into his eyes, you would have known. We are not a people of orthodoxy. We are a relational faith, bound together by our practice. There are wounds in this country which are deep. There are divisions in this country that will not be healed because of who has won an election this week. And our salvation, if there is salvation to be had, will not be in reading what is righteous or in knowing more. It will not be found in books or in articles or in think pieces on the internet. We'll find it in each other's eyes, in having deep and hard conversations and continuing to be in relationship, even with those who we know we fundamentally disagree with. And that does not mean excusing their behavior, but it does mean knowing that people are more complex than any single vote, any single election cycle, that everyone is living out a story for their own survival. We are wounded. And the people we think of as they are also wounded. When we act out in fear or in hurt, when we keep poking at each other's painful places, we will not find redemption. To be healers in the world, we need to know where our sensitive spots are. We can protect them if we know where we are coming from and what is tender. But we also need that courage to say, yes, there are cracks. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is trouble in the land. And yes, we have the courage to confront it. We have enough love to share even with people who do not wish to love us back. And that does not mean that we will not be fierce and truth-telling and honest. But we are a people who practice relationship. And so our challenge is to live into that. Nobody loses or is a loser in an election cycle where we commit to take better care of the people, all the people in this country. So let us take a moment to breathe. Let us take a moment to celebrate, for there is joy to be had. And then let us remember that here, from our place of stability, it is our next job to reach out a hand and help someone else up out of the mud from where they are broken, and to heal the world. Blessed be. And our closing hymn is called A Small Sweet Step. It's by Zoe Toby.
When you wake and feel the day's already gone, the sun is rising but your faith is going down, and you're losing hope a change gonna come, you gotta tune your station to a higher sound. When the way seems blockaded and you just don't have the might, give some praise that you're frustrated. No, you ain't wrong, you're on the edge of something right. Take a small, sweet step, give it all you got. Just a small, sweet step, moving forward. You don't know what's next, and nevertheless, take a small, sweet step, moving forward. When you're riding and the fog has got you blind, remember you're the sky that holds the clouds. Born with a hero's heart and a monkey mind. On the planet of commitment, there is no doubt. So when the way seems blockaded and you just don't have the might, give some praise that you're frustrated. No, you ain't wrong, you're on the edge of something right. Take a small, sweet step, give it all you got. Just a small, sweet step, moving forward. You don't know what's next, and nevertheless, take a small, sweet step, moving forward. And you know you got to be crazy to look at the game and think you're okay. You're in the very last minute, the very last play. Scoreboard's not on your side, but aside, your heart is a beat. It's a song on your tongue and the dance on your feet. You came here to bring to the game what you got. Win or lose ain't never the prize. You got to take a small, sweet step. Give it all you got. Just a small, sweet step, moving forward. Keep on moving forward. You don't know what's next, and nevertheless, take a small, sweet step, moving forward. Come on, keep it moving. Take a small, sweet step, give it all you got. Just a small, sweet step, moving forward. You don't know what's next, and nevertheless, take a small, sweet step, moving forward.
And now, let us extinguish our chalice flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And so may it be. On this day and in the days to come, may we take one small, sweet step after another on the path of the mystics and the path of the revolutionaries. Heal the world and ourselves and one another. May it be so. If you would like to stay for our coffee hour, we usually break out into small groups. You are welcome to stay. We're going to mix it up a bit and let you be in breakout rooms. All randomized, so if you are not from Indiana, you'll get to meet some folks. If you are from Indiana, you'll get to meet some folks. It'll be quite exciting. All right, you're welcome to join your rooms when you are ready. I'll hang out here for a few minutes in case people are having any difficulty getting into a room or just want to chat. Right.